If you've seen my 10 times Drag Race eliminated Frontrunners video, you probably should know what this video is going to be about. I'm going to go over 10 times on All-Star seasons when a frontrunner was eliminated. All-Stars eliminations are a little different to regular season eliminations, of course. Depending on the format and looking at the competition at face value, most of the time the queens themselves have a say in who goes home. Well, that's not entirely true. The show utilizes a technique where you make someone believe that they're choosing what they're going to do, but in reality, it was your choice all along. For example, if I say, let's listen to some music, but I want you to choose, and then instead of giving you freedom to play whatever you want, I say, we can either listen to Blackout or Impossible Princess. You may think it's your choice, but in reality, it's not. Same thing goes for Drag Race. After All Stars 3, we found out that RuPaul and the rest of the producers, of course, know who chooses which lipstick, against whom the majority voted for, etc. And so the producers still have the power in eliminating people, but it's a little less power than on regular seasons. If you enjoy what I do here, you can like, comment, and subscribe, of course, or if you want, you can also join my Patreon. There you will get early videos, exclusive content, and even opportunities to take part in my videos. Either way, your support is always appreciated, so thank you all. Before I do get into those 10 instances, I have to mention a couple of things that seem to have confused many people in the previous video. Well, okay, either confused people or people just chose not to listen. First, of course, we're including here the All-Star seasons. All-Stars 1 through 6. All-Stars 1 had the same format of placements as regular seasons, so that season's entries will be in the Honourable Mentions, because the queens on that season did not eliminate each other. All-Star 7, of course, does not apply here because there were no eliminations there. I'm somewhat including the Versus the World seasons, and I say somewhat because I'll just mention them briefly and won't pay much attention to them. Versus the World seasons are not technically all-star seasons, but they are all returnee seasons. And then also we have Pangina, so they are kind of international all-stars. The format there is the same as All-Stars 4's format, so they kind of fit. However, and as I've said, I won't spend too much time on these entries because I think you know which those will be. And then I would also like to show that similar eliminations happened on the actual all-stars, but we just kind of forget about some. Next to me, a frontrunner is a queen that in any given episode has the strongest or the second strongest track record or PP score. In some instances, I can also see a third strongest track record being a frontrunner, depending on the results of an episode or the storyline the contestant gets. If they were a frontrunner before their elimination, they're going to be on the list. And yeah, I did forget Jessica Wilde in my last list. Forgive me for I have sinned. All-Stars 1's format has this point system, All-Stars 2 and 3 have this one, All-Stars 4 has this one, while All-Stars 5 and 6 have this one. If you have any questions about the Queen's PP scores or track records, you can check out my cast rankings playlist. Let's get into the honorable mentions first. Here we have first, Team Alexis's elimination on All-Stars 1. You know how earlier I said that the queens on All-Stars 1 did not eliminate each other? Well, Jára Sofia kind of eliminated her own team when she hit that buzzer in the lip sync. Team Alexis was the second best team in the competition before their elimination, and they obviously were better than Team Rujubi track record wise. The other honorable mention is Tatiana's elimination in episode 2 of All-Stars 2. Tatiana was the second best competitor after episode 1, and thus, she was the second strongest competitor in the bottom 3 in episode 2. This is not making the list because there was really no way that Tatiana was not getting eliminated in this episode, given that she was going up against her Alaska Talks. Starting with the 10th spot, we have one of the two queens that will appear on both of these lists, and it's Thorgy, with her elimination in the second episode of All-Stars 3. Thorgy is the lowest here because you can be much of a frontrunner after only one episode, even if you were high in episode 1. Which she was. However, the reason why she is number 10 and Tatiana is in the honorable mentions is that her elimination is quite interesting given the people surrounding her. Shangela eliminated her over Kennedy after Thorgy extended the offer of making an alliance with Shangela. Then Shangela ended up losing what was more or less an ensured win in the season because of the jury of the eliminated queens. The queen that benefited the most from the twist was Kennedy as the weakest top 4 contestant that in any other case would not have been in the top 2. And the only queen that voted for Shangela to be in that top 2 is Torgy. If Shangela had eliminated Kennedy, she may have been the jury's second choice, depending on who was in the top 4 with her, while Torgy would have been able to be a good paranoid shield for Shangela not to get eliminated. It's also in here because Torgy was set up to fail, and the Drag Race did that thing they love to do, where they cast certain people just so that they can exploit their emotional traumas or susceptibilities to manipulation. In the 9th spot, I put Alisha's elimination in episode 7 of All Stars 2. Out of the bottom 3 in that episode, that consisted of Alisha, Alaska, and Roxy, Alisha was the second best competitor, and she was the second best competitor overall out of the top 5 after episode 6. In the top 2 of that episode, we had Detox and Katya, and here's the thing. If I were in that top 2, I would eliminate Alaska first, Alisha second. Alaska because she's the best competitor and I want to win. Alisha because she returned, and my policy is if you are allowed to return to the competition after being eliminated, you are not allowed a single fuck up. However, due to the whole Alaska Tox alliance, Detox chose to eliminate Alisha. Now, I love Detox, but that was one of the dumbest moves ever. If she had eliminated Alaska, the choice for the crown would have been between her and Katya. As we've seen, fan vote did not matter for All Stars 2. The good old days. So Detox would have probably won had she actually eliminated the season's frontrunner in Alaska. Next elimination on the list is a little different. It's an elimination where somebody was taken out of the competition, more so for the fact that they rubbed the rest of the cast the wrong way a little. In the 8th place, I put Jára's elimination in the 4th episode of All Star 6. Jára was up for elimination against Kyria, who she was better than in the competition. In fact, Jára was in the shared 3rd spot with 2 other queens, but she was the best out of the 3. However, since Jára did come from an early Drag Race season, she clearly did not understand that in modern Drag Race, you don't really have to be a good competitor to make it far. Often, you just have to cater to the majority. And that's it. Jára went against the majority quite often, which is why the majority eliminated her. In the 7th place, we have Alisha's first elimination on All Stars 2. Yep, she's here again. Her elimination in the 4th episode. This time, Alisha was the strongest queen out of the bottom 3. That also included Roxy and Katya, who, by the way, should not have even been there. Alisha was also the second best competitor out of the entire cast after episode 3, only behind Alaska, who eliminated her. To make matters worse, this was Alisha's first time up for elimination, whereas Roxy and Katya were there twice each. To add insult to injury, the winner and the eliminator in Alaska did not even answer the runway's theme, something that Alisha was somewhat criticized for. I feel like Alisha would not have gone home had she had to lip sync for her life against Roxy or Katya. So basically, the only way that Alisha goes home is if you look at her performance in the challenge, or if you're strategic, as was Alaska. In the 6th place, we have Fifi's elimination in episode 5 of All Stars 2. Yes, Jeremy does not go by the name Fifi anymore, but I'm talking about Jeremy during their time on All Stars 2 when they went by Fifi and when they competed on the reality TV competition show RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 2 under a drag name Fifi O'Hara, so calm down. Fifi's elimination encompasses everything I've said so far. Firstly, she was a better competitor than Roxy, and the second best competitor overall in the season up until that point. She was also someone who was cast to be there to be emotionally exploited. She went against the majority, and might I add, she was right literally every time she did that. And her elimination for some may have been satisfying. There is also an added layer of storyline. Fifi, and really all of the queens from season 5, but Roxy especially, came onto All Stars 2 to show that they're not villains. That's not how human people work. However, Fifi was the only one that was not allowed a redemption arc, growing frustrated with the production meddling in the season and then being painted as the villain again because the production led her to it. We can also add the layer of Fifi doing worse than Roxy in the Maxi Challenge. Given that Roxy also had a tougher job of hosting and performance in the challenge does come into play sometimes when queens choose whom to eliminate. Regardless of the fact, for me, it's a sad elimination because the tragedy of a human being was played up as fan service. That was the 6th spot. The queens and their eliminations that I put from number 5 to number 1 were all frontrunners, meaning that they were the queens with the best track record in the episode before they got eliminated. The 5th spot goes to Jimbo's elimination on UK vs. the World by Pangina. Before episode 3, Jimbo and Pangina were tied for 1st place. And, well, Pangina took out her biggest competition. That, for some reason, turned her into a villain on the show and in the eyes of the fans. That makes some sense because strategy on Drag Race is usually seen as a tactic for less skilled queens. But I'm sorry. And first of all, Pangina is the most versatile and skilled queen out of that cast. And second of all, I don't want to be a part of a fandom that views being strategic and smart as a negative. Well, it's only a negative when Pangina does it, because when Blue eliminated her in the next episode, the fans were happy about it. Obviously, this ensured Blue her win in the season, but it also made me even further realize how hypocritical this fandom is. If you see eliminating the frontrunner as a wrong, then 2 wrongs do not make a right. Furthermore, this is the same fandom that keeps asking for
more drama, diva, work it, hunty,
every season, and then when they get it, they turn against the queen that brings it to them. In the 3rd place, we have Eureka's elimination in the 9th episode of All Star 6. Eureka, after episode 8, was the season's best competitor, her score being matched only by Ginger Minch. But Ginger had a mini challenge win under her belt. However, I must say though, Eureka is not the strongest competitor once we take away the everybody's up for elimination unless you're in the top. However, given that she did not really do well in the Maxi Challenge in episode 9, and that she was the only queen that did not have a win in the season, everybody but herself voted for her to go home, which is why she was eliminated. However, again, Eureka fought until the end and did not vote for herself, so that's commendable. And then she was brought back 2 episodes later after winning the Silky's Drag Race Lip Sync residency. That was the name, right? And then what happens? Eureka gets her first and only win in the season, and with the group eliminates Trinity, the queen that she originally wanted to eliminate in the first top 5 episode. That was honestly a power move on Eureka's part. All props to her for that. The 2nd place on my list goes to one of the ballsiest moves on Drag Race ever, Ben de la Creme eliminating herself. See, I wanted to put this in my number 1 spot because the front runner eliminated herself. She was not up for elimination and she did it. However, the only way that Dela could have been number 1 here is by, for example, let's say if BB had been chosen as the winner of the lip sync over Dela and BB chose to eliminate, well, Dela, who wasn't even up for elimination. Honestly, I hope somebody pulls that on All Stars 8. Plus, this is just one of the many great elimination moments of All Stars 3. Morgan being eliminated because she told Dela that her strategy is to eliminate the strongest competitor, who Dela ended up being. Jesus, gross. Kennedy taking no time to eliminate Milk, the double Chi-Chi elimination where Shangela toyed with Trixie and all of her fandom, BB eliminating Aja after Aja literally made the garment that she won in, Dela of course eliminating herself, and then Morgan being eliminated for the 2nd time. As bad as the season is at times, the eliminations were always great TV. And in the 1st place, we have maybe the most popular, the most influential, and the most dissected frontrunner elimination, the one that ended the All Stars 2 to 4 format, coming from the most influential queen of Drag Race for Drag Race. We have Naomi Smalls eliminating Manila on All Stars 4. I really am not going to spend a lot of time with this one. You all know how iconic it is. And that's it. That's the video. This is actually the 2nd time I'm making this one. The first time I got pretty much all of my info wrong, so when I started making the visuals for the video, I realized that nothing matched and that I had to start working from ground up again. So please, like, comment and subscribe. I'm an old man and need money. Thank you for watching.